Hi again, Mark here from TalkingBass.net. This is the fourth in a series of lessons where we've been playing through the cycle of fourths with the major scale. In this video, I'll be showing you how to get a bit of practice at moving between the two positions. Remember that the lesson material is all available to download from TalkingBass.net, so all of the exercises that I'll be showing you are all written out on a PDF in both standard notation and tab. Just follow the link in the info below. And also remember to subscribe to the website for free in order to gain access to the members area where you'll find a whole load of cool bass content like the ebook library, the practice room and the forum. So go check it out. Okay, so if you've been following these lessons, you'll now be well practiced in these two areas. We have the low area that I call the first position, down here between the 1st and 6th frets. Then we have the second position here from the 6th to the 11th fret. We've played the major scale through the cycle of fourths in each position, covering every note in each key in each area. So before proceeding, you should be able to play the C major scale down here in this first position, from the bottom note to the top note and back. And you should also be able to play it up here in this second position. Okay, from the bottom note to the top and back. And you should be able to perform that same exercise throughout the entire cycle of fourths. So C major, F major, B flat major, E flat major, A flat major, etc. So now let's have a look at how we can transition between those two positions, and that'll really help with opening the neck up. So we'll begin with C major. And just as a refresher, let's just have a look at the scale patterns we had in the two positions. So in this first position, we had E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So that's all the notes of C major in that first position, from the low E up to the C. Then we move up into second position, play the same thing. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so to transition to between those two positions, we need to use a bit of a doorway. So we're going to have position shifts, and we're going to position shift in one of 4 different ways to begin with. We're going to use each of the 4 strings as a doorway for making the shift. So for the first position shift, we're going to use the E string. So we're going to play E, F, G, A. Then we're going to shift up into the second position and play B, C, D. So that's the position shift. So we're playing those notes there on the E string, E, F, G, A. Then that's with the 4th finger there for the A note. Then we just shift the hand to move into that next position. Okay, so then we have B, C, D. So first of all, just get used to that movement. You want that to be quite seamless. Okay, and that's it. We've transitioned into that second position. So now we can just work our way all the way to the top and back down. And then when we get down, we're going to transition again using that same E string. Okay, so from the bottom to the top and back. E, F, G, A, position shift to the B, C, D, and continue. All the way up to the F and back down. Position shift down, and that's it. So we've worked all the way up from the open E up to that high F, C major scale seamlessly. Okay, so you want to practice that over and over until you can play it smoothly. Okay, so that's the first exercise. So then we just try the same thing using the A string to transition. So once again, we're down here in first position. We work up through the C major scale from the open E as low as we can go. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Then we make the shift. So up to the E. So now we're in second position. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. That's as high as we can go in that position. And back down. And then we shift down again on that A string. Okay, so you can see that if you know those two patterns in those two positions, it's pretty easy to make the shift. You're just thinking in terms of, this. You're just thinking of that pattern down there, and then when you make the shift, you're just switching to thinking about the second position. So let's try that second exercise again. So E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay? So even though we're using E as our starting note and end note, we're not thinking of an E scale of any type. We're just thinking of the notes of C major, okay? But we're just starting as low as we can and going up as high as we can. So, next, exercise 3, we're going to use the D string to transition. So, again, we start as low as we can. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Make the shift up to the up into the second position on the D string, and then continue. Okay, so we had the A, B, C, D, E, F, and back down. Okay, so practice it till you can get it smooth. Okay, and finally, we're going to use the G string for the transition. So, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, transition, up to the D, E, F, and we'll use the G string to transition back down again. Okay, so. Okay, so that means that we can now move from that lower position into that next position, so first position to second position, using any of the strings as our doorway. Okay, so we're not limited. No matter where we are, we can still think, we can still shift down no matter what string we're on, okay? So those 4 exercises are really good for getting used to both the act of physical position shifts and also for understanding a major scale pattern over a much greater area without having to rely on a small root to octave box pattern. We're seeing all the notes of C major on all of the strings from the open E string all the way up to that F there at the 10th fret of the G string. Now, just as a little tip for those of you that are really into pattern playing, when you make the position shift, to make things a little easier, what you can do is actually think back to our original second finger C major scale, okay? So you can think of that basic pattern, and then when you make the transition, if you think of that major scale in terms of 3 separate lines, if you think of, you've got that first line with the B, C, D, half step, whole step, then you've got that second line, half step, whole step for the E, F, G, and then for the G string there we've got A, B, C, we've got the whole step, half step. When you make the shift from the C and D there on the A string up into the second position, all you have to do is think of the next string up. So we've got C, D, then E, F, G, obviously, half step, whole step. Think of that half step, whole step pattern up here, E, F, G, okay? So we've got C, D, and then think E, F, G. So you're taking that next line, the next string pattern, and just playing it further up the neck. C, D, E, F, G. There's that half step whole pattern that we had down here. And you could do the same thing down here. If we've got E, F, G, A, then we've got B, C, D, which is the same B, C, D pattern, half step, whole step pattern that we had there. Okay, so we're just shifting those patterns down. Now, when we make the move up on the G string, we can't do that. A, B, C, D, E, F, because there's no repetition of a lower position. So you just have to learn that one. But that's just a little tip for those of you that are really, really into these, 1 octave box shapes. Now, as well as coming up and down on the same string, we can obviously come up one string and then come down another. So when you've got used to those first 4 exercises, then just try coming up on one string and try coming down on all of the others. So let's use the E string as our method for getting up the neck, and then we'll just try each string in turn for coming down. So we begin E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way up. Then when we come down, we can come down the A string. Okay? Okay. Then let's try the same thing again. We come up on the E string and then we'll come down on the D string. Down on the D string. And then we can try the same thing up on the E string. then down on the G string. Okay, so each time we were coming up on the E string and then down on each string in turn. And then you can try exactly the same thing by coming up on the A string and do the same thing. Come down on each different string. So E, F, G, A, B, C, D, shift, all the way up, come all the way down, and come down on the E string. Down on the A string, up on the A string, down on the D string, up on the A string, down on the G string. So, I'm not going to go through every single permutation that you can have there, but you can see that, there's quite a lot of exercises you can get just for getting used to those position shifts, so that no matter where you are in either position, if you have to make that shift, you can do it no matter where you are, okay? So just like in the previous lessons, we're going to work through the cycle of fourths, but we're not going to work through them all in one go. This is quite a large area of study, and you need to take your time, staying in one particular key or scale and getting used to that before moving. Otherwise, you'll just forget it, and you won't get enough practice. So stick with that C major scale for quite a while until you feel really comfortable with it, and you can just shift between the two and you feel okay. Then move on to the F major scale. Stick with it, practice it for quite a while. Then the B flat major, E flat major, A flat major, D flat major, just work through them that way. There's 12 different keys that you can work through. I mean, one thing you could do, is there's 12 months in a year. You could spend a month on each scale, just hanging around, just practicing that particular scale for that amount of time. Next month, work through the F major, next month B flat, just like that. Like I say, unlike the last lessons, we can't just go through them all in one exercise. It'd be a much too long exercise, and you'd just be doing it for hours. So, like I say, stick with the C major before moving to F. So now, just as an example, I'll just run through the F major scale so you get an idea of how that one will work. So, first of all, we need a little refresher on the F major scale in those two positions. So in the first position, we had E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, okay? I'm going to play up and down there, all the way from the bottom all the way to the top. Then we move up into the second position, and we begin on a B flat there, the 6th fret. So we have B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Then you can come all the way back down, but we've got, get used to it in that second position. And remember, always try to see where the root note is in these patterns. Don't just think of it as an E scale if you were playing it down here, and don't think of it as a B or a B flat scale if you're playing it down here. Always look, there's the F, there's the F, there's the F, there's the F, always know where the root note is. So now we can try the transitions. So first of all, we'll transition on the E string. So we begin E, F, G, A, shift up to the B flat, and then just continue the pattern, okay? And then use the E string to transition. Then we use the A string for transition, or as our doorway. So E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, transition. Whoops. Then we use the D string. We get up to the E, F, G, and then we move up to A, B flat, C. And finally the G string. So E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, and then up to D, E, F. And then just use that G string again to transition and come back down. Okay, so that's the 4 exercises there. And then of course you can try, E string transition, ascending, A string transition, descending, etc., etc. And you'll get 16 extra exercises out of it that way. And then just try noodling around, just try playing around through those different, in those different positions. And then when you want to make the transition, you make that shift. So if I'm up here on that F major, okay, so I can just make that shift whenever I want, okay? So as I mentioned before, work on that F major for, as long as it takes until you're comfortable with it, then move on to B flat, E flat, etc. Remember, all of the lesson material is available to download from talkingbass.net. Just follow the link in the info below, and I'll see you later.